Hello everybody, I am Miss Husan and welcome to our 8th grade English Language Arts classroom. I firmly believe in the quote by Nelson Mandela, that education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. Over the last 2 years especially, we have definitely seen a world in turmoil, and as an English language arts teacher, we're lucky enough to use the classroom to really explore, analyze, and discuss ways in which we can use our English language arts skills to better understand the world and therefore make change in the world. In order to do this and have many discussions that are often complicated discussions and conversations, we absolutely must demonstrate RISE. Our classroom community is one of the most important and rewarding things in my entire educational career. I absolutely embrace and promote the concepts of RISE, which as our school are our cornerstone in everything that we do. We respect ourselves and others, we impact our community, we strive for excellence, and we embrace diversity. And you will see that these 4 things are found within our everyday practices within our classroom, the way that we speak to one another on a daily basis, the way that we participate in our learning, and the way that we seek to impact our overall community. You'll see these concepts in our activities, in my discipline methods, in every aspect of our classroom community. In our English language arts classroom, there are 4 main units throughout the year. The first unit is the challenge of heroism. Within this unit, we explore the hero's journey archetype, which is a general pattern studied and examined by Joseph Campbell. And the way he came up with this pattern was looking at stories across cultures, across time, and noticing that there was a specific pattern that he saw over and over again. This is a pattern that is not unlike our own lives. Actually, it's modeled after the challenges that we face as humanity. And so the hero's journey story, the archetype, is that specific pattern that we'll be studying. We'll be identifying it in a variety of visual media. We'll be identifying it in novels, and students will be able to write their very own narrative around the hero's journey archetype. This is a really exciting unit because oftentimes I have students come back after a weekend of watching movies with their family or reading their own independent books and saying, I saw parts of the hero's journey in, the movie It, and of all places, right? So it definitely allows them to go beyond the classroom and note the ways that we see these hero's journey stories in so much of our popular culture, media, and their very own lives, the way that we address challenge and overcome it again and again and again. Then we'll move on to our second unit, which is the challenge of Utopia. Usually throughout this unit, we actually read The Giver, and it's a dystopian novel. Students will also have the opportunity to read excerpts of other dystopian novels. And this is really a unit where we focus on close reading analysis. We deep dive into the text and make meaning of specific word choices and punctuation and characterization and the growth of all of these things in a novel over time. Students will be able to write a literary analysis by the end of this unit, having practiced it throughout. Unit 3, as we come back from our winter break, will be on the challenge of argumentation. So this one is a lot of fun because one of the things our middle schoolers are great at, or they think they're great at so far, is arguing, right? Making a point, sticking to their defense. So in this unit, we draw on the strengths that students already have, and we do teach them other skills to strengthen their arguments, to make counterclaims, to work with persuasive appeals, such as, appealing to emotion, using celebrity and credentialed individuals to help prove their point, and really drawing on on counterclaim skills, which is so important. We talk a lot about how respect factors into debates because, of course, with debating material, we're going to have to really be able to keep an open mind and listen to others as well. This is a really fun unit. It actually pairs up with our WPA writing, which is the writing performance assessment that students take usually around February. So this will give them not only the persuasive practice in debate, but also in written persuasion that they will need and that they will showcase on their WPAs. And finally, we have the challenge to make a difference, which is our last unit of the year. This unit is an incredibly impactful unit. We often begin with a study of the Holocaust. We read and learn about survivors and their stories. We talk about memoirs. Students often write different memoirs of their own. And then we talk about what are some of the issues in our society currently. That could be in our school community, in our larger community, our neighborhoods. It can also be things that are happening worldwide. And this is where students are given the freedom to choose something they are passionate about, learn how to do research on this topic so that they become experts, and are finding credentialed sources, right? Not just anything online. And they really build an understanding so that they can teach others. But it's not just about teaching others. One of the wonderful things about this particular unit is that students have the freedom to choose to create a project that goes beyond our classroom walls. In the past, that has meant that some students have created surveys and have actually put them out there into the world. Some students have created wearable designs, right? So t-shirts that promoted a very particular message, and they then wore that message out into the world to make a statement. In some cases, our students have created door knockers, door hangers, with very particular messages as well that they go out and they put in the neighborhood on people's doors in order to promote some kind of change or difference. And so this really takes us beyond the classroom walls into our community to learn about, think about, and change the minds of others, and encourage people not just to observe, but to take action and make a difference in our world. So these are the 4 units that we will be covering throughout the year. They're pretty big units. So within each, if you notice the different icons that are around the board here, within each, I'll start at the upper, the right corner. So we'll definitely be doing a lot of reading. That is one thing I sorely missed during our distance learning and virtual education. We, like I said, will read The Giver. There will be short stories that we're reading. We'll be reading a variety of nonfiction, including biographies and memoirs. We'll be combing through research articles. We'll be reading independent fiction as well and having book conversations about that within our classroom. Just this summer, I know it's kind of hard sometimes to find the time to read, and that has been an issue I have faced as well in my own personal life, and I have been eating books this summer, and so I'm so excited to kind of bring that back into our classroom. Next, you'll see the little writing journal. We write a lot, so each of these units actually culminates in a larger writing piece, right? The narrative in Unit 1 for the hero's journey, a literary analysis in Unit 2, persuasive writing in Unit 3, and then expository informational writing in Unit 4, with a little bit of persuasion because you want to, make people do something at the end of it. And so there's a major writing assignment throughout each of these, which means we tackle the variety of ways and strategies and patterns that people write each of these different big categories in. We also do a variety of daily writing. The journal entries are one of my favorite things, and that's a little bit of daily writing practice, pushing students to add detail, pushing them to think about a particular prompt in a short amount of time. And this is also where we do a little bit more of our mechanics and grammar check-ins, because it is more about what the student is writing from, you know, their own ideas and their own kind of freedom to choose. And so it gives us a little bit more of like, well, let's take a look at your writing style and how we can improve it. So the daily writing is an important part of our classroom as well. And then if you notice here at the bottom, I don't know if you all can see it or if my face is covering it. I'm going to move myself over a bit. But down here at the bottom, we have conversation going on. One of the things that we'll be working on as well is the speaking and listening component of language arts. It's not just going to appear in the debate and argumentation unit. It is a part of our daily practice, right? Checking in, building ideas off of one another. One of my favorite things is at the end of a discussion, which I usually type up as they're, you know, speaking and contributing. I like to pause and show them, like, let's look at how this idea evolved, right? It might start with one student, it might be backed up by another. There is, you know, some clarifying questions that get into it. And through conversation, we're actually able to build a better understanding and a much bigger picture of the topic at hand. So that is something that you can expect your child to be doing daily in my classroom, checking in and talking with their tables, bringing that discussion back to the whole group. Definitely something we do a lot. And with that, of course, kind of thinking about having that open mind. A lot of the themes you may notice are grounded in social justice. They are, like I said, we do have some heavy discussions, but our students handle them so well. And I think one of the most important things we can come away with is how to listen to others and keep our minds open to new information and building our knowledge. So that's our year at a glance. I touched on this a little bit. There's usually classwork that becomes homework if it is not complete. I don't often give a ton of homework. If we have reading for the next day, that's something that I'll give them time to work on in class. So one of the most important things for our students is that they utilize their class time in a manner that facilitates them not having to have homework. We do a lot of projects. So like I said, there's that big writing project at the end of each unit. All of these are things that are chunked. We go through part by part. There's a lot of guidance along the way, and there's opportunities for students to ask questions and get lots of feedback before they turn anything in. Participation is huge. Like I said, they'll be having conversations at their tables, whole group, and pretty much every day. So your students should have an opportunity, especially in a block period, to be able to speak up several times within a day. And then lastly, our testing quizzes. There will actually be more weekly tests and quizzes than I've ever given in the past. And part of that is because of our new grading scale. And one of the things that I want to do is give students many at-bats throughout the week to practice a particular skill and then be able to prove by the end of the week that they have mastered that skill. For example, we'll be covering close reading analysis. So we'll practice it, we'll work on it throughout the week during our class, and then I'll see where the students are by administering a small quiz at the end of the week to see whether they have mastered the skill or not. That way it's more based on the knowledge that the student is gaining rather than did they complete all of these assignments. I want to know how well are they doing at that skill. And lastly, most importantly, probably, communication to a relationship is like oxygen to life. I absolutely believe this both with my students and with you all as the parents. So I want to make sure you have my information before we go ahead and sign off for the day. I tell students all the time, please make sure you're communicating with me. I'm sure we can work out any extension you need, any issue you're having. Let me know if you're just not having a good day, right? So feel free to email me at ausan@sjusd.org. You can also send me a Canvas inbox. I highly encourage parents to become observers on our Canvas page, and my classroom phone number is there with my extension. You can always find me in H207, and when I say always, I mean really, really a lot of the time. It's been wonderful getting to share a little